Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do a quick review and overview of the Spartan SHF folder, or SHF. Most people just call it a Spartan SHF folder, or just the SHF. It goes by a very variety of names, or shortened versions, or longer versions, depending. But I'm just gonna call it the Spartan SHF. It is designed by SHF, obviously. So, and it is manufactured by Spartan Blades. This one in particular is the full-sized, and it is an S45VN. Now before we go any further, please subscribe, and please also follow the Instagram, and also like the Facebook page. Thank you very much. I'm going to move this guy out of the way, and we can go ahead and do some size comparisons. So let's just start off with like a known classic, the 940. Obviously, you can tell this is not a small knife. The 940 is about a 3.5-inch blade, so as you can tell, this is quite a bit larger. So it's definitely not going to be for everybody. Another one would be a Hinderer XM18, 3.5-inch. There you go. Similar thing. Let's do a Strider SMF. That would be this here. So SMF, SHF, if you want to make it harder to remember which one's which. Obviously, this one is, overall in the knife community, more nostalgic, more historic, if that makes sense. But as you can tell, the blade lengths are pretty spot on. Even the handles are pretty darn close to the same length. But those two right there. Let's do the Spyderco Shaman, just for Spyderco fans. You can kind of get the reference there. The handles are pretty darn close to the same length. The blades, though, obviously the SHF is going to be quite a bit longer still. Let's do the Rat 1. Again, what's interesting is the handles here. This one's longer handled, but a shorter blade. And just for fun, just so you kind of get a different perspective, this is a Daiwa. Let's clean that off, sorry. But this is a Daiwa S90. As you can tell, it's not nearly as tall as the Daiwa. So all the other ones were roughly pretty similar in like width or height. So this kind of shows you a little bit chunkier tank blade, the difference. Now, this right here is smooth, as you can tell. So I would be careful. Make sure you know where you're putting it. But the nice thing about this is, like, if you put it roughly right here where these notches are, it will not hit your fingers, so you're not going to get cut. But it's not so smooth where you're kind of just risking it every time. You can obviously, like I'm doing here, disengage it, push it down, slide it down if you want to. You can reverse flick it. It is a little bit harder to do that on camera, as you can tell. Let's try to see if I can get it on camera here. Not quite. Nope, we're just gonna stick to this for now. But you can do that. I did it off camera earlier. It's fine. It will work. Just not something you would have to do after getting used to the deployment. Which, speaking of that, so this has more of a deployment style to a Sabenza, but it has the style and overall look that you're gonna get from something similar to a Hinderer. This does not have external over travel stops. Obviously, it's internal right there. So just like a Sabenza, these don't actually do anything except for thumb studs. That's all they are. It has a very Spyderco-esque sharpening edge. Whereas, like, let's say this Hinder, no choil, 3.5 inch, still has a sharpening choil. Whereas the Shaman here does not. It has nothing at all. It basically, the thought behind that is when cutting, you're not gonna get caught up. So when you go press up against here, it's just gonna slice rather than getting caught into that choil. Harsey himself has stated that if he wanted to have a choil, he would have put it as a choil. So, and he is a brilliant designer and also just overall guy. So I would definitely say he meant it to be just the way it is. His design is exactly how he wanted it, and what he was going for design wise. The clip though is good. You do have, let's say, a decent amount sticking out. So let's just use this for reference. You're gonna have roughly that amount sticking out. Now, some people are going to love that, some people are going to hate that. The great thing about it, though, is you do have a good grip. So when you're pulling it out, it's not going to get caught, not going to get stuck, not going to be slippery. It's easy, it's there. Yeah, something's going to stick out. What makes up in that is the way it's canted. So how it is canted is it's going to be pushed up into the corner of your pocket. So really not that much will be really sticking out because of that. Now, pocket presence, as in like overall footprint, it actually hides very well in your pocket for the size. I'll specify that for the size. It pockets very, very well. So if you like compare it to like an SMF, these guys right here, SMFs, they do pocket really well too, surprisingly. You'd be very surprised. Especially with this going into the corner of your pocket. But if you look at it, this is thicker, wider than your Harsey. So compared to size-wise, other knives in that size range, this is actually not that. The footprint of it inside of your pocket is actually pretty slim. It is actually going to disappear relatively well, and you're not going to be able to notice it in that way. Though, one thing you are going to notice is this is titanium and it is unmilled. You can kind of see that here. So it is going to be a little bit heavier. You're looking at about 5 to 6 ounces in your pocket. Now you're looking at a Hinder right here. It's going to be around the 4.5 ounces. But you're looking at smaller blades. There is that. So yes, you're looking at a little bit of a difference there. So it does pocket well. It is a little bit heavy. Now, obviously, you can tell this guy has been used. And I don't like doing reviews unless I have actually used it pretty substantially. And so there are some scratches here and there. These scratches in particular were actually due to a roof and a coworker. So these would not have been here, but the scratches on the blade definitely would be here regardless. Got some nicks here and there, some just wear marks. So the coating on it does wear really, really well. And of all the thing, and of how much I've used it, it has worn very nicely, and not just completely scratched off like paint. The S45VN has quote unquote not been sharpened, yet it has pretty decent edge still on it. We'll definitely sharpen it eventually. This is how that works. But it's definitely holding a better edge or longer edge than S35VN. Do not know if it is easier to sharpen yet, because I have not sharpened it yet, but time will tell. I am definitely liking S45VN so far. Time will tell if it like once it gets to the sharpening point part of it, that maybe my view of it will diminish a little bit, or maybe not. But as of right now, I do like the blade steel. It is not chippy, which was a worry, at least more than S35V, and it was a little bit of a worry. But one good thing about this, also on top of having a good steel, different steel, newer steel, that all these heads are large. You're looking at all T10s, so you don't have to worry about T6s. So I believe this one, though, might be a T15. Obviously, we can check that, I believe. I think I have. Maybe I don't. Let's see here. Okay, that's... Okay, I don't believe I have it right here. But that's not my, but all the body screws are gonna be T10s. I believe this is also a T10. If not, it would be like a T15. I got these guys over here, same size too. Everything is this same size except for maybe the pivot screw. I cannot remember off the top of my head. I think it looks larger, but I believe it's the same size. But the good thing though is, again, it is, try it again, did not work. It is all large fasteners. You're not gonna have T6s where you're worried about it stripping. Again, you kind of look at the overall build. It is very ergonomic, by the way. Does fit in hand very nicely. I would put it in the range of ergonomic wise as a, especially if you hold it this way. This less so, but this definitely more so. But like this ramp right here is definitely meant for this. It is very good for that, to cut through, pass through, detailed work. I mean, this is kind of where you would want to hold it, ergonomic wise. It definitely is in the range of ergonomics, pretty close to probably XM18, 3.5 inch specifically. and very close to, if not similar to, a Hinder Eclipse, which I will get into more on the review of that knife, which will be coming. But this one right here, I would put it not above Hinderer quality. I wouldn't put it above Chris Reeve quality. I would put it slightly below or at the same build quality as those two. It is very close. And I think they could easily match those two, or possibly, if they continue to get better, improve upon those two. You will notice, though, on top of that, is does not have a tab. So like, let's say if you look at this Hinderer, you're gonna get this guy right here. That's just to prevent lock stick, and easy to replace it rather than replacing the whole face here, which you would have to do here. So, and also the steel on steel lock insert on the Hinderer will make it so it will basically not be easy to replace, so it won't have lock stick. What's interesting though is this will overall be a better lockup than your steel and steel. This has the potential to start wearing over quicker, but very minute. Very minute. Think about the titanium and steel lock face like this here, is that it will find its place about 50% eventually, and it will stay there for years, and then probably move over in 10 years and start moving over again, but you won't have to worry about it. Another thing, small detail, but if you look in there, you can kind of see it. This guy right there, instead of having a LBS on the outside, it has it on the inside. It's still there, just not nearly as visible. You can kind of see it right there too. It's a little bit different. So my thought is that I don't know if it's really any better. Why do I say that? Other than like aesthetics, like that's all that really is, because when pushing the lock bar out, you're going to be pushing against the ring, which is pushing against the screw. So theoretically, it's the same thing because you're pushing against the disc, which is pushing against the screw in the same manner. So the only way to make that necessarily better would be having the reverse, where the screw is actually like on the other side. That way when you push against it, it pushes into the screw rather than out of the screw, if that makes sense. But alas, I mean, there's not much you can really do about that, and that it is what it is. But let's see, is there anything else that I have not talked about? The cutting geometry is definitely thicker than some, but it's not going to be the best slicer. But it has a good mix between good slicing and also durable edge. So you're not going to have to worry about the edge chipping or anything like that, or rolling because it's so thin. But you're also going to have the cutting ability to do 99% of your tasks because it is thin enough, and also be durable enough where you don't have to really worry about it. I would definitely say if you are looking for a overbuilt folder that can cut well, but is not a Chris Reeve or is not a Hinder, and you want something different that's also American made, Spartan Blade Harzy is definitely a really good one to go with. They have lots of different models. Their customer service is actually really good and fantastic. You can talk to them directly. They often will, if they don't have a certain one in stock, see if they can just make it on hand for you then and there, put it together. But they have drops all the time with different styles, different engravings. But in all, this is going to be a great hard use folder. It's going to be great for any task that you throw at it. It's going to be able to cut and whatever you need it to while being durable at the same time, and be able to handle extra abrasive and our extra hard use cuts and situations. I definitely trust this more than a lot of other folders out there. But that is going to be it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.